Good evening, dear all. We are so happy to see people joining our regular Thursday webinars. And on behalf of English Without Borders Network, we welcome you to our Thursday webinars. And today we are hosting Davlatmurodov Bakhtiyor, and today he will talk about reaching every student through differentiation. And our speaker has more than 10 years of teaching experience, and he has a bachelor's degree in English and German languages and has worked in several secondary schools in Tajikistan. He has also participated in the international programs and conducted training for English instructors, not only in Tajikistan, but also in other countries as well. And in addition, he has been teaching IELTS to students and preparing them for entering abroad universities. So to add more, Bakhtiyor Davlatmurodov has been our regional representative since March this year, and he also participated in a number of international conferences, including English Without Borders Conference last fall, and delivered sessions, poster session presentation, and this May, he also was a speaker and also presenter at English Without Borders regional conference in DRS and in Dushanbe. So we invite all of you to the table, and Bakhtiyor today is going to tell some good recipes from his teaching experience. And let's listen, let's discuss around it and ask our questions, and let's enlarge our teaching luggage with more skills and more practices to make teaching more exciting and interesting, and making our classes really engaging for our students. And please don't forget to write your questions in the comment box and in the chat box via Zoom or Facebook, and we will make sure to pass them over to our speaker today. Okay, so happy to see all of you, and over to you, Bakhtiyor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for such a great introduction. So, dear our beloved followers, today we'll be talking about, as it was mentioned, about how we teachers can, through differentiation, through using different strategies and ways, for example, reach every student in our classroom. Of course, at the beginning, there is food for thought, and I would like, before starting, to also know your opinions, and then we can go further. Can you see my screen? I have some issues, technical issues. Okay, so we can start by one very famous quote, yeah, about differentiation, differentiated instruction. I repeat this. Okay. Sorry, guys. So, as I said, we can start by one very famous quote by Albert Einstein, which is, you can see from the screen. Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a ladder, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. So I would like to know about your ideas. What does it mean? How you apply it to teaching? Uh, so any ideas if you want to share, we can hear at the beginning, and then of course you will be introduced with our today's plan and also the procedures, the steps that we need to take today in order to exchange our ideas and of course give you some um, thoughts and of course some strategies, and together we can come to conclusion. So any participants who want to share, what does it mean? How do you connect it with teaching or with differentiation? You can also write. We know that not everyone can, for example, express his thoughts or her thoughts, opinions, but there is a great chance that you can use the chat box to write your responses there. So if there are any responses, we can hear, or you can also write. Okay, you may write, yes, and later we will, of course, see also your responses. In order to save our time, we can go on to continue talking. So this quote means that, of course, we are not all physicists in our lives, and every child is different. We bear in mind that the way they perceive the materials, the way they attend the classes, and the way they have different opinions, of course, it is different. And we need to, of course, bear in our minds that every child can grasp the materials, the topics that we deliver, we work with them in different ways. And we need to measure also them according to their ability to perform in the class. So it also means that, of course, children can even use their talents. For example, if they have that talent or the abilities in writing, yes, or if they have really nice opportunities in performance or in public speaking or something like this, they can, of course, develop them. They can't, for example, even they try very hard, but if they don't have skills in something else, but like the fish, yes, it is impossible to climb a ladder, and they even try their best to achieve that point. Maybe they are good at something else. They need to, of course, improve that one. And we teachers, educators, need to, of course, observe and bear in mind that the learners can have different, of course, understanding. And I think that the main aim of this webinar is talking about why differentiated instruction or lessons are very important in today's instruction. When we think about the differentiations in our classroom, by this way, we can also engage a lot of for example, students not disengage. We know that when instructions or teaching was started, it was started by, for example, schoolhouse where one teacher, for example, taught a group of students. It doesn't matter what was their age or what was their level. But later, yes, throughout the history, it was identified that instruction is very appropriate when it is done, of course, through age and through levels. But today, as we teach, we notice that in our classrooms, we have slow learners. We also have gifted learners. We can say that we have not active or stupid learners. It is very rude to say. We can say that there are slow learners and there are also gifted students. And for some of them, it can be repetition. For some of them, if we teach them on the level of those gifted students, it will be, of course, boring. And as a result, they will not, they will also have difficulties in learning and grasping the material. So that's why it is very essential to use various techniques and activities, especially in our lessons, and to, of course, split them into different groups. The same, you know, the same content, but the process is different, right? For example, imagine that our topic is now, right? The way we deliver it, we may think about those who are very active during the class, but sometimes we think that those who are slow learners, they can also understand it. While delivering, for example, presenting the grammar, we can also group our students according to their understanding and do it through teaching. Asking those who are, for example, better at grammar, ask them to go to different students to do pair work. And it also allows the teacher to work mostly with students, those students who are really, for example, who really need assistance, teachers' guidance, because there are self-learners, they can do some of the tasks independently on their own. And the teacher, we can also say the facilitator, the teacher can today be as in the role of facilitator, he goes or she goes to those group of students who are really, for example, needed in, of course, assistance. So there are some questions as our topic about how to reach or how to refer to every student in our classroom. Of course, it is very difficult to do it. There are also drawbacks of it, but let's mostly talk about the advantages of it. Later in our today's webinar, we will be also talking about the issues of it. But as our webinar is today about how we can refer to them individually, then you will be given some choices. Yeah, from the screen you can see that there are different questions. You can choose one and write about it or say something so that we can also have interaction in our today's webinar. Not only, for example, the speaker can speak, but you can also express your views and ideas. So the questions are, how do teachers successfully meet the needs of the diverse learners in their classroom? The second question, how can differentiated instruction support success for all students? And what do you think about this statement, one size doesn't fit all? So any ideas about these questions and statements? If there is, you're welcome to speak.
Apimunavar, yes, please unmute yourself and you can talk.
So these questions are connected. We can connect it in the same way, because I want to tell about how teachers successfully meet the needs of diverse learning in their classroom. So we know that there are different students from different parts, from different families, from different from different parts, and of course with different knowledge. Do you want me to mute myself? Okay, so that's why teacher, if he wants to make success with their students to achieve something, first of all, the teacher must know how to make closer, how to be closer with them. So the first thing, teachers must know the learning style of different students. This is the first question, because while preparing materials for your classes, you know how your students learn, because sometimes students are very active. Sometimes they are sitting in their place, but it doesn't mean that they are not learning. They learn differently. That's why teacher must know what kind of students and how they learn. For example, we know that there are 4 learning styles, yes? Auditory learning, textile learning, and so yes, visual learners and kinesthetic learners. So teacher must know the students divided into such kind of learning styles and prepare materials according to their learning styles, because they will be, yes, it will be easy for them to learn materials if you you know their learning styles. It will be better, and it will be easy to come closer and to make progress in your students. So prepare according to their learning styles. I think this is the most important thing when you start learning students from the low level, and you will make progress very, 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 very soon. I think.
Great. Very great point you made, dear Molima. Yes,
Thank
you. Of course. Great. Yeah. We know it even, for example, when we start teaching, as you said, it is really easy for us as instructors to see that our learners have different style of learning, and according to that, we can prepare and contextualize our topic as well, so that even the slow learners can understand and learn something. So the reason that why I personally prepared this topic, because I would like to share one story from my teaching, where I was asked to go and to work for a year. And I went and I met a boy who had some issues with learning. I was told that he had been, for example, learning English for many years, but without success. And I just wanted to sit with him and in a friendly way to talk with him. And after, for example, just sitting with him and understanding his needs, I decided to help him somehow. And what were my approaches is that I decided to ask from very, very easy point. For example, giving him 2 words only, to spell them, to pronounce them. So I told him that you need to also somehow speak in English. And if you need some other words, I praised him, you know, I pushed him further, and he said that now I am more confident and I have a great passion in learning. And I decided to give him, for example, some other materials to of course, to have individual approach, to help him to be not, as a teacher, because when you teach someone, of course, they feel some kind of, fear. But I decided not to be like a teacher, but rather than as a friend. And I told him that he needs to be more open-minded and speak and to use, for example, the way he thinks he can do it. So after I worked with him, I saw the progress, and I invited him to be in the group, and I saw that he felt more confident and he started to learn, and I give him some other extra tasks. So by the end of the year, when his parents came, they didn't believe. They said that not only he learned, but he has a great passion now in learning English. And this allowed me to prepare, for example, some materials regarding how we teachers can educate our learners and how we can work based on their needs, and how we can prepare materials, such activities that they work for all students, even in one class. So it was one of the reasons why it was made. So could you also share how do you usually differentiate your own instruction? What are some of the strategies do you use so that all students can be engaged? I will share some after your talks, and after you share your ideas. There are some nice strategies that today in this webinar I would like to share from my own experience. And if time allows, I'm also able to show you some short videos that I made in my own instruction. So if there are any replies, responses, you are welcome to express whatever you want to share.
Can I say?
Of course.
It's like, for example, if your topic is improving listening comprehension, you can use, one material, but give different tasks to different level of students. For example, if you have multi-level students in your class, it's okay. You can just, take some
Group them, yes.
yeah, and of course, like make them to work either in group or just either in pairs, and by that, because the main point here is that they learn not only from the teacher, but also they learn from each other as well, and also they can do peer correction, they can just do peer sharing, they can just peer reviewing and just peer learning. They can also be engaged in that.
Mhm. Okay, great. As a result, the facilitator have plenty of time, yes, to also go to different groups, different pairs, and at the same time, listen to them. And if there is something important to add, comments, he can provide it. And especially as we talked about slow learners, he or she can also provide them more helps, yes? Because when you teach like lecture-based or something like that, it seems to you that they are attentively listening, they are very silent learners, but in fact, they just listen. Because today it was, of course, researched and proved that the more the students are engaged, the more they feel responsibility, engagement, and of course, contribution. And as a result, they can produce something. So maybe the comments will be coming. You can even interrupt and say your opinions if ideas come to your minds. There is one quote that I would like to ask one of you, those who are on Zoom, to read it. I can't see how many participants are joining us on Zoom. 10 participants. So any volunteers who would like to read the quote from the screen, and other volunteers can, of course, maybe we will limit the time for exchanging your ideas because of time management, as it is one of our most essential parts for teachers to manage our time. So maybe one of you can read it, or you can read it from the screen, and if there are any replies, you can say your own opinion about it.
Kharim, so you unmuted yourself. Do you want to share your opinion?
Okay.
Yes, Noliman.
Can you hear?
Yes, of course.
So should I read it once again?
Just say your directly your opinion, right? Yes, because of time.
So the religious instruction is not equal, but it is the inevitable result when teachers are committed to the success of the... Okay, of course, teachers takes a great role in the success of each student, because it depends on the first of all on the teachers, because teachers are the person who provide a very interesting context for the students, and this context it is kind of guide for how to say, for its students, because the students, if you look at the context, it is very interesting, or it is fun, or something that he know about that, and then it will gradually lead to success. And this is because this is the only way a teacher elicits something from this context, and it helps and it guides his students towards the success. This is what I think.
Good. So when we want to deliver our lesson, yes, when we want to teach our students, we have our own goal, yes, objective for the lesson, right?
Yes.
But when, for example, we think about the success of our students, we need to think about not about the goal, yes, mostly. We need to think about the result, the product, yes, so that the students, after, for example, being, for example, engaged in learning from that lesson or session, they need to, of course, learn something. So we teachers sometimes, of course, the goal, our goal is to, for example, let's take our topic is adjectives, to talk about adjectives, to provide theory, to also engage students in practice. But during our lesson, we need to think about mostly about the result of the students, how we can engage them in more practice, to think about very nice activities so that they can have great success. So if we don't achieve our personal goal, that's fine, but we need to think about, for example, whether our learners learned something or not, whether they were really active during the lesson or not, whether all of them were engaged or not, whether the activities were appropriate for them or not. We need to ask these reflective questions often and work on it. So there is another question, food for thought. How does the teacher know she needs or he needs to think about modifying something in her or in his instruction? Based on what? The question can be changed a little bit. How the teacher can know that she needs or he needs to change something in his or her instruction. Based on what, for example? How? How is or she's able to, for example, to do it? That she needs or he needs to, for example, take some steps in order to change something.
Mhm.
Yes.
Can I?
Yes, yes, please, yes.
Yes, thank you very much. So as we said, the main thing is the result, how we get the result. If we, for example, do some activities and doesn't work for our students, we have to think that we need some changes because
But
maybe they
how?
don't
Based
understand it.
on what we know?
Based on
Yes,
students'
how the
engagement,
teacher,
probably,
yes, according to the result, how the students make progress. For example, if we prepared very good activity, but we didn't achieve any result, and they cannot speak, they cannot read. We have to think about our activities in another way. Maybe we make them we simplify them, or we have to change our approach to our students because there is no result and the teacher will not our maybe method is not working. That's why teacher must seeing that the students are not making progress, teacher must change its way of conducting lessons. This is the main thing that if it doesn't work, so it needs to be changed. I think
Okay.
this one.
Great. Very nice point. Great. Thank you very much. Any ideas about this question?
Okay, can I say something about that?
Yes, of course, Madam.
When we do need to change, it is like, I think it is, teachers usually know the level of their students. They know which student is weak, which student is fast learner and quick learner. So teachers usually have to anticipate it before for example, before any lessons. For example, today I came out of my lesson and I reflected that some students were not kind of happy with these handouts or with this grammar. So I need to simplify that. Next time, I should find another way in order to make it easier for them. So I think, like, of course, we need to be alert. Like sometimes during the classes, we can make reflection in action, and we do something regarding on that. But usually teachers think about this problem before making a lesson plan, before preparing any providing any context or preparing any materials.
Okay. One thing that, of course, we need to pay attention closely to is to our content of the lesson. Yeah. Before going to our class, of course, it is different to teach at schools and to teach at learning centers. They're completely different. If, for example, teachers are teaching in any learning centers, of course, there are textbooks, yeah, which are, for example, very appropriate. All skills are taught, and you start thinking about the content. There are some, for example, activities or tasks rather than, for example, it is better to say tasks, exercises, which you think as a teacher that there will be less outcome from, for example, spending our time with our students. Yeah. So very important to think about the content, the topic, that how you are going to deliver it. So it is your plan that you need to think about before you deliver it. And then during the process, we need to conduct some activities, of course. Yeah. Through these activities, we can also understand their readiness, yeah, their interest, and their learning profile. Because we teachers usually, when we conduct, for example, any activities, we mostly observe how, for example, the students like the topic or not, don't like the topic, and how they are engaged, how they collaborate, how they learn from each other. Because when you just present something or talk, mostly, or in other words, if the class is teacher-centered, then we can't see it, yeah? And implementing some activities, of course, we can also understand that we need to change something, as you also mentioned. And in the product, of course, we need to see, yes, how did they learn, and based on this, we can again change something. The next class, we need to think about some other more appropriate activities maybe, or to change something in our instruction, and to think about those students also, that how we can engage them. So our job is mostly to think about the ways of engagement of our students in our lessons. And one of the best ways, as you know, it is through, for example, knowing their needs, and based on it, we can even group them and use acting through teaching. We know that some students, as I said, gifted students, some active students, they can, for example, be selected as volunteers also to assist the teacher, and it allows you to also work with those, for example, who really need your help. One of the examples can be one very simple picture. Different pictures can be given to students, just not standardized ones. We need to think about some of the pictures which are a little bit complicated. Some others are easier to describe. So we need to give them, and at the same time, based on the picture, write some questions, different questions. And based on the questions, they can work in groups. They can, in the process of learning, yes, even ask each other. And by this way, they can even our approach, we see that even those who are, for example, not so active during the class, they somehow engage because it is their group and they need to contribute something there. So these are, of course, the things that we, based on them, understand that we need to change something in our instruction. What do you think about this statement? What is fair, not what is equal?
Excuse me.
Any ideas? Yeah.
Maybe this is not addition, but I want to ask something about the successfully the method we are using in the class, sir.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yes, of course.
Something like that. After we are using the method in the class, sometimes something like we are using the method in the class, but for some students, maybe we see as a teacher something like that. There are some students is not suitable. It's not suitable with the method. So maybe the question is how far we see the method we are using in the class successfully or not.
Okay, so I think that this was not based on the statement, right? It is you really want to know that how we can make sure that the methods we use, they work with the students, or what?
Sorry?
So was it a question, or I'm a little bit confused?
Sorry, my question is how far we evaluate the method we are using in the class successfully or not.
Of course, by reflection, there are some very specific questions that we need to, after finishing each class, we need to ask ourselves as teachers, as educators. But I think that not overusing some activities in our classroom or games that it is suggested. So we need to, of course, work based on our content of the class and think about the appropriate methods that they are related to the topic. And of course, as teachers, we need to also think about our learners, how appropriate the methods are for them. I think that by organizing some activities based on practice, it can help us a lot. For example, I decided to ask my students to make a mini film based on the free topic. I wasn't engaged on that process, but I saw that after they went to their houses to have their lunch, they came back and I saw that they had a lot of free time. So I decided to ask them to prepare a mini film there, just give them some ideas, and they started to prepare films, and they even shot the film. And as a result, by this social English, they could also learn very basic terminology. And some of other methods, for example, mini seminar or some other methodology that we can use, we need to also think about our students, whether they are appropriate for them or not. Of course, it depends mostly on their level as well.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So here the statement means that if you think about our class, our students, that they will participate equally, of course, it is not fair. Okay? We need to think about what is fair in our classroom. Of course, not requiring the same thing from our students, because we know that they are different. And of course, we need to make a balance so that everyone can contribute. But it is fair if, for example, we think about not asking or requiring the same thing from them. To give them, it means that to give them different tasks, the same content, but through different actions or through different process. For one, we can give a little bit easier. To another group, we can give more difficult ones. So,
Okay, thank you, sir.
what is the importance of reaching every student through differentiation? As we mentioned, we can create a very nice, effective learning environment. This is really nice. Being so strict and serious doesn't work. We need to build, of course, very nice relationship and at the same time environment. And what is very essential and beneficial in reaching every student through their differentiation, they think that they are not rejected, they are accepted. and they are respected. We don't think too much about, for example, we know that some students respond very quickly, some others not, but when we, for example, value them, respect them, they need to, for example, think that, oh, we are accepted and we have, for example, opportunity to speak about something. Tomlinson, in his differentiated classroom 2000, mentioned that in differentiated classrooms, teachers begin teaching where students are, not at the front of the curriculum guide. So it means that there are many teachers, of course, that they follow whatever is written on the textbooks. They shouldn't be out of the curriculum. At the same time, the students are limited. They need to follow whatever the teacher says. Of course, we think from, we know from our experience that today, in today's context, yeah, contemporary world, it doesn't work because we need to differentiate the tasks. We need to think about, okay, our plan is today like this, but it is okay to differentiate it and to think about some nice activities so that my students can enjoy and I can enjoy as a teacher. Not following the guide strictly, yes, so that you need to somehow transmit it. But you can, for example, use very nice discussions. You can use very nice demonstrations. You can use some other activities which are really nice for students' performance. And how you can, for example, refer to every student. Of course, we need to have great skills, yes. Of course, it is also not easy. It requires a lot of efforts. But if you really want to be successful and to see that our students progress, we need to do it. We need to devote our time to it, to see, for example, how they grow. As I said, another student also told me later that he really appreciated my teaching, and because of that, he is much, for example, respected. He came, he was very shy, but we used some nice strategies like sharing articles. I gave them some articles, different articles. To be exact, I shared the articles in the group, in WhatsApp group, and there were multiple selection. And I asked the students to choose different articles, texts, and coming to the classroom, they need to share them using their own words, of course. And he said that this project, he called it a project, but this activity allowed them to every time to speak because they had background, they had ideas what to say about, because they read about, for example, the history of chocolate, the history of television or something like this. And when they came, they could, for example, talk about it. So sometimes we need to think about out of the box, of course, and at the same time, ask our students to also think out of the box. Why do we need to differentiate? There are 3 points. 1/3 of our students may already know about the topic. 1/3 of our students will learn, of course, and 1/3 of our students won't learn anything. What does it mean? It means that we need to prepare materials, activities based on students' activities. For those we think that they have nice background, we can give them some other tasks. For those we think that they, for example, have, for example, something else, some other abilities, we can give them, for example, demonstration. And for those, we think that we teach, we know that they really need our help. We need to go to them, mostly spend our time with those groups to help them, and they need to also to be engaged, because we know that even when we organize discussions, we mostly see that the active students talk, yes? And by grouping, by differentiating our instruction, the students will, of course, participate. And usually, if the level is the same, they are more confident. Yeah, you think that, oh, one is very fluent, and he thinks that my English is not good, so I will not speak. Yes, and you need to think about it. This is the main reason why we need to differentiate our instruction based on the needs of our students. At the end, I would like to share some activities for differentiating our teaching, yes, our instruction. Layered curriculum, it is a really nice activity. For example, cubing. So we know that there are 6 sides of it, yeah? And we can ask the students, for example, who are very creative, to make one. And to each side, we can maybe stick or write a kind of question. Some questions, different questions, of course, from easy to difficult, and ask different students to go to the cube and to select, for example, the question that they are comfortable to speak. And by this, they can also find their group mates to go to each other to discuss the questions. All the pictures that I told you about. Anchor activity. Okay, we need to give different texts, for example, to students to work independently. And during, for example, their engagement, of course, we need to coordinate. We need to see how they perform, where they need helps, and of course, monitor the class, go to them, give them some ideas, and in the process of, for example, experimenting or learning, they can even perform better. And the next one is Jeopardy activity. It is when usually you finish your unit and make sure that how to reflect that the students have learned something. You use it. For example, you can write some questions on the rubric or on the table, and the topics that we've covered, and the students need to select, for example, numbers. Based on the numbers, they can, for example, choose the question. If there is computer and projector, it will display it on the screen. The person who deals with computer, he can press, the question will be appear, displayed on the screen, and that student can read the question and answer to it, or maybe other students can also say their opinion, and you can grade them. For example, if the number is 100 and he answered to the question correctly, then he gets 100 score. If the question is 200, of course, his score will be more. And students can also work in groups, so it can be done individually. So what are the benefits of differentiated instruction? We know that it is very hard to engage all the students at the same time, yes. But if we think about nice methods, strategies, techniques, activities, we can see that there is equal participation. Of course, every student can be engaged. And we can see that there is much collaboration, yes. Even they can ask the vocabulary each other, they can go to each other. First of all, they move, also they interact. It allows them to be more confident, it is more practical. It also allows you to do a lot of grouping in your class, to change, for example, the way you group the students. And there is no one way of assessing the students. You need to assess the students based on their performance, by giving them different tasks, by assessing them differently based on their performance. So there is no one way that we need to grade them, we need to assess them. Using various techniques, seeing their active participation, we need to, of course, also use a variety of ways to assess them. This is the benefits. Of course, we think that it takes a lot of our time. We need to think about a lot, how to do it every day or regularly, but it reduces our burden, in fact. Instead of talking and talking and talking, and you're talking, and the learners are listening, it's better, of course, to use some nice interactive activities and pay attention to every single student, that how they can participate in the class. So you can see there are two other quotes on the screen. You can read them, and at the same time, if you wish, you can say your opinion about them. Maybe any of you can read it aloud.
I can read. If a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. It's again just, bringing our teaching, to the level of their,
Yeah.
kind of approaches that they are using to learn something. Yeah, that's great. A differentiated classroom should still feel like a community. It shouldn't be like we are in three different classrooms. Yeah, agree. Great
Need to build
quotes.
the community, yes?
Yeah.
Of course, we need to also create social interaction between our students, not limited teaching them in the classroom. Usually when we teach the same group in one classroom, we think about one classroom, but we can create different classrooms in this particular classroom. It means that the content, the objective is the same, but the ways the students learn it, it is different. And we need to bear in our mind that they come from different social backgrounds. The way, for example, they learn the material is different. The way they are interested in something and doing something, of course, all is different. And we need to even create a lot of classrooms in one classroom. So at the end, I would like to say that we need to have this kind of plan. We are teachers, but we are at the same time learners. We are learning based on our teaching. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what do I want students to learn? How will I know they have learned it? And how will I design instruction and assessment to help them learn? So the third one is based on our today's webinar. To think about, to design, to seek for some other ways to make our instruction teaching meaningful, and to think about our audience. Think about how a singer gets her popularity, yes, based on her fans that they support her. We also have our own audience. We need to engage them. We need to think that how they can like our concerts. So based on our lesson, they will go home and say, oh, today's class was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. And I really need such classes. They are very interesting. If you hear such comments, you yourself, of course, motivate, yeah, and take some other steps that, oh, then I need to, of course, think about very nice differentiated activities, interactive activities, so that they always should say, wow, wow, wow.
Okay, thank you so much, Bakhtiyor, for a wonderful presentation, very insightful, tips you shared, and I'm sure, our audience got some great takeaways with them. And now let's open the floor to questions and answers. Please let us know if you have any questions. And Bakhtiyor, let me scroll up, because I know that in the process of the webinar, some of the participants asked some questions, and I'll just read them loud. Yeah, I'll read them out loud to you. Okay.
Okay.
I only want to add my opinion. I can.
Okay.
Hello. Okay, I would like to add to Mr. Bakhr's opinion. As my said, can you see the end of the sky? There is no student's mind also like them in, we can give them the choices topics in order to life does not one have to say problems.
Yeah, Dilfuza, because of your
Differences, it teach them
connection,
how to solve many kind of problems.
we can't hear you very
Sorry,
well.
my network is not good.
Yes, sometimes we can't clearly understand or hear
And
what
now,
you're saying.
can you hear me?
It is better now, yes.
Okay, sorry.
Could you,
Yeah,
could you
did you hear what I said?
Unfortunately, not so
Yeah,
clearly.
I wanted that there is no end of the sky. Students' minds are also like this. We should teach them. We shouldn't teach them in order of the frame of the topic.
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, we shouldn't limit ourselves. Of
Yeah,
course.
we should give them differences.
That's why
Yeah,
I said that we
we
need to think
now
about
the
out of the box.
50% of
Mhm,
out. Sometimes we should see out of the box. And this teachers, some of the teachers, they do not want to go out of the zone, comfort
Mhm.
zone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why now
Yeah.
the lessons are going not student centered learning, but teachers. The teachers only talk, give homework, and the student become lazy, and they even they do not want to answer
As
the
a
homework.
result, the teacher
That's why we
improves.
should.
The students, yeah, just
Yes,
like audience,
not,
sitting, watching something,
yeah. That's why we are here to help our
innovative,
teachers.
creative. Yes,
Mhm.
good. Very
Yeah,
nice
to
point.
everyone for.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dilfuza. So Bakhtiyor, we have a question from Abd Haris. I don't know how to pronounce the name correctly. Abd Haris, probably. How to resolve the students who are in the class while we use the method, but the method isn't suitable for some students.
Mhm. Then differentiated instruction can be the solution. For example, you know that you designed to ask your students to demonstrate something, right? Based on your topic. But if you see that the students are mostly interested in something else, you can give another group of students another, for example, task. And you see that if there is, for example, minimal engagement, you can also give them yourself some samples and ideas. We teachers, even as we are in the role of facilitators, we shouldn't forget about, for example, our main role. Yes, for example, if you ask to do any activities, yeah, if you want to use any very nice methods, we need to give very clear instruction and provide a sample before they do it. And also, we need to also ask their opinion about that, whether they also like it or not. If they don't like it, we can also modify or change something. What do they like? Yes, what they are interested in. So we can also ask or conduct something based on their opinion. Of course, we know that it is difficult to manage like noise or behavior, but there is learning, there is still learning, and they can, for example, be engaged. If I know that the students don't like the methods or the activities, I may talk to them. I need to ask their opinion about what should we do in order you learn better or faster or something like this. It's okay to, for example, I always do it. And for example, students say that we like Jeopardy, why not to do it? I say that let's do it if you like it. If they are less interested, we can also think about something else. We, of course, the students are not open or expressive sometimes. We can ask them to write, yes, for example, about their favorite activity or something they like in the box or on stickers. I can, for example, have a look at them, and based on them, I can also prepare something. So the solution to your question that you ask is thinking and, for example, searching some nice activities that they are interested in through differentiated activities.
Okay, thank you so much, Bakhtiyor. So we have more questions, but two of the questions you somehow addressed, and I would jump to the third one because the third one needs more clarification. So how do you assess the effectiveness of your differentiated instruction?
I've been working in camps for 11 years. I was a lecturer, I was a director, coordinator, and one of the students that I taught at school, he came to me and said that why you are teaching here differently and school differently. I told him that because of the activities, because we are here more, allowed to think also about some of the nice activities that we can do with students. But at schools, usually we need to follow our plan. So the effectiveness that I have observed in my instruction, I've been teaching also at SPC. I did a lot of activities. Although if you have studied at SPC, we teach there according to the levels, yeah? But sometimes it seemed to me that when I accepted any groups, for example, pre-intermediate, their level in fact was not the same. It was based on the test, that placement test that they filled. But in fact, when I started to teach them, the level was not appropriate. So I decided to think about some nice activities. I gave the reading part at home. I didn't cover reading there. I just asked them to read, to skim it, to know the main ideas. And based on it, I asked them to, for example, sit in groups to prepare questions. For example, that group can ask my question is to this one. That group can ask our question is to that one. So they can turn the reading to speaking. The effectiveness I see, and I think that most of you can also see, obviously, I participated in professional development in Dubai. Before that, I worked on myself a lot. But after that training, I came and I totally changed my methodology. I allowed a lot of interaction, even very nice activities. In the same class, I used differentiated, for example, instruction. And I asked some of the students to be in the role of teacher and to teach, for example, the small group of students in their own language. And I understood that usually we teachers speak formally, yes, but when they work with each other, they can speak on their own language, I mean, and they can, it seemed to me that they can understand each other better. So I observed all of this, and this is the reason why I prepared this webinar, so that to share that it works very well. Even if, for example, you are not well prepared, it is a good solution for you to go and to ask your students to do something, and even using your phones, you know that you are late, yes, but you are in a minibus and you can search for some nice activities that, oh, I can use this one today, buy a poem, to write poems about themselves, and based on some questions, they can present it. Or to ask them to prepare 3 questions for each other about your topic. Let's go out, walk and talk, for example. And I can also think about some other nice communicative activities or interactive activities, so that the students, of course, can be very active, and there shouldn't be any, for example, problems with their disciplines. Usually their behavior is bad because of maybe boring lesson, maybe they don't enjoy the lesson and they make noise or something, behave badly. If they are really engaged, I don't think that there is time for behaving badly or something like that.
Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, we know that we can do more webinars around this topic, because, like, you know, I'm sure like all the teachers have different
Yes,
activities, yeah, that
yes, of
they,
course.
you know, use to differentiate the instruction. And of course, we welcome more webinars with you, Bakhtiyor, and
Of
look
course.
forward, yeah, look
We will.
forward, because we see this webinar platform as a great place and a great meeting room where we all meet from different parts of the world and share our practices, our, you know, best practices, and also just, you know, bring some good solutions to make teaching more engaged and more interesting and more just, you know, enjoyable, both for teacher and learners. Thank you so much once again, dear audience, for your active participation. And of course, like if you have more questions, yeah, we can deliver more webinars on topic, and we welcome new ideas also for our future webinars. So please stay in touch with us. We appreciate your engagement in today's webinar, and to deliver once again a huge thank you to our speaker today, Bakhtiyor Davlatmurodov. Dear all, have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you very much.
See you next week at our webinar. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Nasiba.
Okay.
Thank you, Manohar. Okay.